All right, what we're going to be doing today is for the acute system. This is specifically for what we're going to be working on right now is some knife weaponry. Basically what I want to show you today is how to use the blades, whether you guys are entering into buildings. I didn't bring my M4 today. I probably have some sidearm weapons here, but I don't think you're going to need that. You can pretty much figure out, if you got your weapon slung, you need to drop it, how to use the knives. Understand you don't have to use two. I'm showing you this so you can understand how this transitions to the empty hand, and really what you're going to have is a very effective means of using any weapon as a weapon when you get done doing this today. I'll go through and explain that in just a minute. What I'm going to show you first is actually how to use the knives against the empty hand, because for you that makes sense, okay? For the environment you guys are in, that just makes sense. Obviously you don't have to have the knives, or you can have other objects, which we'll get into towards the end of the training. So first I'm just going to show you all of what we call the Inasanto Lacosta Gunting routes, okay? And that'll make sense after you see them. And then after that I'm going to show you how to apply it in different scenarios and then with different weapons, okay? All right, so starting from, you're going to want to go ahead and start recording, Trell, on your camera, because you're going to want to get this. Ready? Okay. So the first set or series we're going to deal with, everything's pretty much jab cross just to make things simple. 2 punches that I'm countering. You don't have to use them this way. We'll get into other avenues in a minute, but we're going to start with this. All right. So taking a left lead, I'm going to be holding the knives in what we call a dagger down or dutas position or ice pick grip. All right, or pakal grip, sometimes they call it. Ice pick works, dagger down, whatever you want to say. All right, this, you'll see, makes an effective means of using the blade. The knife works just as well in this position, but on some of the guntings, it's not as efficient, where this is a little bit more efficient. If we were going knife to knife, if Joey had knives, this would be smarter for me. And if he wasn't wise enough to do this, if he went dagger down, even better for me, because he loses range. I have a longer reach now. Even when he extends that out that way, I still have a longer reach here. So if we were fighting knife to knife, this is a better way to go. If he's empty hand, it doesn't really matter. People go, oh, if you ever encounter a guy with a blade like this, watch out because he knows what he's doing. That's a complete fallacy. A knife is just as dangerous this way as it is this way. All right. So Joey's going to jab. When he jabs, first thing I'm going to do is scoop this. I can always, for simplicity's sake, just stop it right there. You can see with the blade how effective that is. All right, it's just stopping that. Just like that, I can also parry it. Okay, I can just parry it right off to the side. So when he punches, I can parry, I can run it straight in, and that would be the equivalent of a catch or a parry this way. All right, or I can scoop it. I can scoop with a small scoop, which is what we call the cut. All right, or I can do a large scoop, which is more of a throwing the arm, which we call waslick. That's important because if I want to open this line up, I can really throw that arm. Now, I'm going to change places. When I do this, if you watch, when I open that, you see how I check this hand here. That's really important, okay? Because I want to jam that gun. I understand he's going to fire that shot off next. It's coming. It's coming immediately. So, whether I tap this here, all right, or parry it, all right, or scoop it, all right, whether it's the cut or waslick, I really want to check this hand, especially if I do the cut or waslick, because when I push this arm, it tends to chamber that right away for the punch. That doesn't necessarily occur here or here, but it will occur when I go here, because see, that wants to come out right away. All right. The other thing, if you understand the principles of boxing, is he may want to hook back. If I scoop this, he may want to hook right back. We'll deal with that in a minute. All right. So again, the basics are to just catch it, to parry it, and to scoop it. Either this way with a small scoop or this way with a really big scoop. All right? And on the scooping motions, we always want to check that rear hand. Now, to take care of that rear hand, all right, we understand we can do any of these motions. I'm going to use the scooping motion for right now. All right? This is a small motion. When he punches, I'm going to receive with this hand, and I'm going to parry it offline. So even if I screw this up from here on out, that's not hitting me in the face. All right? That's important. I don't want to get hit. The other thing I do is don't just stand here and try and move this. What I'm going to do is also move my head and my body. So as I go here, I'm going to move my head and my body. You can see how I can insert the blade in at any point. All right? So from here, when I scoop this, now parrying, watch what this dagger does. It can cut diagonal up, it can cut horizontal, and it can cut diagonal down. It is extremely efficient. If you remember, I broke his hand doing this training in the empty hand method. Here, bam, it's right here with the empty hand. See how the elbow smashes? So I can go diagonal down, I can go diagonal up, or I can go horizontal across. And at any point I can intercept that. You see I'm catching him a little early, that's great. See I'm catching him a little early, fine, fine. He doesn't even, I may not even give him a chance to throw that punch. So he goes here, I jam it right there and smash it. See the positioning? I come right in and jam him, crash, knock him over. That's what I want. I don't want to give him an opportunity to do anything else, so violence of action occurs at that moment. So with the knives, scooping, catching, see jamming the gun, again, diagonal down, horizontal across, diagonal up. Look at the positioning here, all right? See, notice I can either push him, or there's that same Likos. Notice knee in the belly here, real important because I'm still up. I don't want to get down on the ground and grapple with him because I can't see multiple opponents in the battlefield, but this eliminates. All right, if I do manage to get this eliminates very well. This eliminates, all right? It's just very effective for taking out your opponent because you have the brachial plexus right here. That's one of the largest arteries, second to the aorta, and it's closest to the surface compared to some of the other ones that you can have to fish for to really get. So it's a very effective means for neutralizing the enemy. All right, so again, I can catch, if you want to take the same theme with this technique, I can catch the first punch and then jam this and cut. Now you're cutting the hands both times, okay? One thing to keep in mind if you're going to do this without a blade is that either I have to jam this to elbow it, or if that gets a full extension, I'm going to be crowded in here. So I have to watch my range. I'm either going to have to lean back to get that elbow in, or I'm going to have to stop him ahead of time to get that elbow in. All right, it's real important to understand your range. See, there's that same takedown again. You can armbar. I would recommend if you're going to do that, breaking it here as opposed to going down into Jujigatame. All right, I'd recommend breaking it right here if you need to, or same thing, up, 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 up. You know, and if you need to cuff them, flex cuff them, whatever, take them out of the building, whatever you got to do. I understand you guys, you know, depending on the... All right. So, one more time here, and then jamming and cutting. All right, or diagonal down. Next series we're going to work on is the backhand gunting. We're going to switch places again so they can see this from a better angle. So the first thing I'm going to do is same thing, either parry, catch, scoop, whatever with the first hand. All right, the second hand is what I'm interested in getting. Why? Because if I start doing some real fancy, over complicated techniques here, I'm going to get punched in the face with this hand. All right, it's as simple as can be. People don't throw one punch in a battlefield situation. They're going to be throwing multiple strikes. We're going to deal with more than two. This is two. It's just the way we start. All right, so when that jab comes, same thing. I'm just scoop it. When the other hand comes, I parry across and come right up under either this way or this way. If I go that way, this inserts right away. Again, it could go right into the brachial artery. So from here, I scoop, parry, backhand. This may be a little bit difficult. You go, what if I miss? That's fine. Scoop right around, see, right in the face, here. You can go into the hip. This is nice because you're going to put them right down if you put that in the crease of the hip. Even with a metal training weapon, you'll find that to be very uncomfortable. You can use the hand, but this works really, really good. It's very uncomfortable. The crease of the hip, right in there, all right? So again, scooping, all right? I can also, when I parry, cut upward, which then gives me the ability to do this. See, moving on the line, see how I cut his balance off here? If I just do what we call walking the line, walk straight forward, there's the knee to the face, and I can keep going. All right, so back up this way a little bit. We're going to do that same thing again one more time. So from here, see, I can scoop it, parry, notice cutting up, all right, grabbing. Now look, I'm going to check this hand. Why? Because I know it's coming, all right? Can you get around that? Yeah. I mean, I'm not necessarily trying to pin it here and have a wrestling match. I just want to come in and cut that for a brief moment. So when I do this and walk the line here, I'm ready to go. Notice at that point, I can keep going forward or I'm still up. If he pulls me down, that's when I have to grapple, but not until then. Don't willingly go to the ground with anybody ever, all right? It's just not a good idea because if he has a blade or he gets one of my blades, now he's in proximity to repeatedly do what we call the sewing machine or stab me a lot, and that's not good for a battlefield situation. Even when you're moving in working with whatever size team you're working with, even a two-man team, three-man, four-man team, even if you got a whole... The problem is, in a few seconds, he can stab me several times. It doesn't matter how many people are there. They shoot him, that's great, I'm still bleeding. All right, and you understand, you went through the same courses I did with dealing with cone of penetration and whatnot from a stab wound. So you understand that the lethality of the weapon. All right, so that's the backhand gunting. One more time real quick with that. So we go here, and it's just right here, either up or in. All right, you can stay on the inside, or see how I do that? I just roll my arm. So as I go here, when I parry this and either thrust or cut up, I just maintain contact with his arm. At this point I can grab it. I don't have to grab his arm. If you're worried about it coming back at you, that's why I always have both hands up. Watch. See, when I go here, see how this hand's still up in my face? If he tries to hit me with that, I've still got the blade here, and this is still coming in. I can still check this here. All right, there's your kinjit motion. Same thing. Pull this up right here. All right, about 1.5 minutes he's dead if you don't treat it with a pressure dressing. All right. Next is going to be inside gunting to inside gunting. All right, we're going to switch positions again because you've already seen the second one. So now the idea is just the same thing, but we're doing it on both hands. So when he throws the jab now, I'm going 1, all right, and then I'm going 2. You got to understand, these training knives are fairly large for training knives. I just grabbed whatever I had in my bag today. I don't have my smaller ones, but this is about the size of a bayonet or whatever you guys are going to use. Bayonet will work for this method, even though we don't sharpen them. So when you're here, even with these larger ones, I can still operate. See, leaving my hand up, you can still operate. Watch this from the empty hand method. I go here, I go right there. It's very easy to do. A little bit faster. See, and there I am, right on the inside again. There I am. I can step in if I want. He's off balance. There's that same what you call a circle throw. If I had the blade, that would be there. I got to watch both hands because even when he's on the ground, now I've got to deal with that. Okay. All right. So that's the backhand gunting. Okay. It's just now we're doing it on both hands. Then the next one, all right, is going to be, all right, gunting outside thrust. We're going to deal with multiple. You need to get that? Yep. Go ahead. We'll just cut it. All right, so we're going to do another series here now. Basically, we're going to show you the outside vertical gunting. This works really well against a barrage of punches with the blades or without them, all right? So when the jab comes again, I'm just going to scoop it for simplicity's sake. When this second hand comes, I'm parrying across, all right? What I'm going to do with this hand is from the outside, I'm going to lift as if I'm doing a high cover. If you remember boxing training, this is the high cover you want to prevent from getting hooked in the head. All right, so from here, scoop, parry, and lift. As you lift, obviously that's cutting here. Okay, so again, scoop, parry, cut. All right, scoop, parry, cut. Also, look at my feet. Notice that when I do this, I'm stepping off at an angle. We use female triangles. All right, so I'm going to use the knives to delineate those angles while you watch my hands. All right, so as he punches here, see how I step off at that angle? I don't step straight into him, otherwise I'm going to get hit. And I'm trying to sector away from that rear hand, so if it comes again, I can still stop it, and I'm in control here at any point, all right? So it's real important to understand that no matter which side I do this on. If I'd want to do an outside vertical gunting on the lead hand, because I realize this is going to be real nasty real fast, come a little closer, and he punches from this side, it's all right. There it is on this side, okay? See, there it is. Doesn't matter. I understand that the rear hand's coming, so let's look at the beauty of this technique. When I do this here, all right, if the rear hand comes right now, I'm covered, all right? I'm covered. I'm already covered. So at any point, if he's faster than I think he is in this, I'm already covered or starting to cover. Look, there's a nice lock right there. I didn't have to even work for it. All right. Same thing, if I don't get that lock, watch what happens. All right. When I parry here and he hits, if I don't get the lock, look where we are. We're right back in this area right here. I can put that back in there. I can cut here. See the knee of the face? You know what we're going to do next. Yep. There's your same circle throw, but with assisting with your leg. Real important if your hands are busy dealing with your weapons or whatever you have you're going on. I don't mean multitasking like fighting one guy while throwing him necessarily, but your hands may be full of weapons, or you're trying to force this guy down, and this isn't always as easy to do the Likos. All right, we'll cover this in another training session, but when you do it with the leg here, the idea is kneeing here and then throwing the leg over. I'm going to get a tremendous amount of force throwing him there, because my legs are much stronger than my arms. All right, and unless you're, if you remember him, that's usually the case. All right, your legs should be stronger than your arms. So when that punch comes, all right, it's right there. Now, the follow-up to this is going to be this hand coming up and also covering. As it covers, see how it naturally cuts the arm. I'm facing the rear hand. It doesn't matter. I've got two basic sectors I can receive that. I can receive it on the inside when it comes, or I can receive it on the outside when it comes. Hold on one second. We're going to rotate our body. Step right about there. That way the camera angle will see this. So that rear hand comes. If it comes inside, see, I could, there, again, that same high cover motion, stepping in and off balancing. All right? If when I do this, it's straighter, then I just have another outside vertical gunting. And look, see the motion? See how I'm always trying to get offline, be able to watch my environment? All right? I don't want to block the fatal funnel. All right, we understand that. I don't want to be jammed in that doorway. If I've got my M4 strapped here and I do have to draw a blade, the nice thing is if I have a right side carry, depending on whether you have a sidearm here, it's on your LBV or Molly gear, all right? When I have my M4 here, wherever this is strapped, it can be right here on my chest. That's great. I can pull that out really easily, and I already have a dagger down grip. I don't have to work for it. I don't have to work this way. I mean, if you carry the blade on this side, you're going to get this draw really simple. If you carry it on this side, you don't want to draw this way. You want to draw this way because it's very fast, okay? So you can imagine, I come into a room, and he grabs the barrel of my M4, all right, down, and I need to go, see, look how easy that is. If I decide I need that, you know, repeat it, yeah, I mean, it's that simple, okay? So that's how the techniques kind of transition. All right. So that's the outside vertical gunting. I'm going to do it a couple times with the empty hand so you can see a little bit of the difference. So we're just going to do it off the lead hand because it's the same whether it's from the jab or the cross. Typically, you wouldn't try and go off the jab, but with this technique, it can be done, and you can be very successful with it because of the kind of fail-safe high cover that's already built in. All right, so when I do it here, parrying, my fist is coming up. Here, see, smashing this as I come up. All right, and covering. Then the elbow is hitting. I'm not trying to hyperextend his arm here. If I get it, that's great. I'm just simply trying to take my elbow and drive it as hard into his tricep as I can, because I want him to think about the pain here, not about what's going to come next. I want to distract him. Obviously, with the blade, that's lethal in the sense that if I can sever the tricep there, he can no longer extend the arm, and it's rendered useless. He's not going to punch me with it anymore. All right, if your blade is that sharp, and they do make them that sharp. All right, so when that punch comes, hitting here first, as it does, it just covers right up. There's the second motion. I can, again, watch the rear hand. If it comes and I can get on the inside, I just simply bicep stop, thrust. I mean, you can even take it real simple. All right, your schoolboy trip. Osotogari. Is that right?
Osotogari.
Osotogari. All right. He's the expert at the Japanese terms for the throws. All right. There are multiple techniques you can do from here, multiple follow-ups. For instance, from that same outside, my hands are up, he throws the jab. When I go here, I can just simply hook that, grab it, take him down, break the arm right there. There's the thrust. Let's do that one more time so you can understand. Maybe I have my M4, I can't get to this in time. This comes down, he punches. See, I can hook this, drop him. Now look, right there. Real simple, right cross. There's the second one, there's your femoral, breaking it, whatever you need to do, all right? So, the outside vertical gunting, very effective. To practice this, one of the drills you can do is real simple. What I'd like to do is what we call salit footwork. So I'm triangle stepping. Don't do this. Everybody wants to do this. Here's the problem with that. If I do this, my body hasn't gone anywhere. Look at my reference, and I'm still right in front of Joey. I'm still right in front of him. Let's take it from this angle so you can see it like this. All right, back up just a little bit so I can see the feet. There we go. So if I go here, I'm still right in front of him. I go here, I haven't moved. But now watch, if I bring the feet back and then step out, I'm offline. Same thing, watch my shoulders. Step out, I'm offline. So I step out, I'm offline, and I step out, I'm offline. So to do this drill, what we're just going to feed me one punch at a time. Feeds me the jab, I parry, outside vertical gunting. I step back, hands up, parry, outside vertical gunting, hands up, parry, outside vertical gunting. Notice when I do this, the high cover, see I grab the back of my head, real important. Real important, don't get lazy. All right. There are other outside vertical guntings we do. We have half, quarter, and full. This is the full. All right, so you can see, here's the half. Half goes just to right here. That usually gives me the techniques where I hook the arm and drop them. All right. Quarter usually hits and retracts back down here. That might be when I come here, I want an uppercut right here. All right, very common also follow-up in this situation is from here is to go right through there. See the punch right to the face. It's very easy to do. All right, so you can see it with the blades now. When I go here, see, there's the blade. Boom. Watch this. I'm not going to hit you in the face. Tucking that. Now I've got a different version of that same circle throw again. Okay, so there's also with the Liko, so that round throw, Labai, they also call it, Puter Kepala, depending on which Indonesian art form you learn this. You have same one we talked about earlier here, turning like this. Thank you. We also have it when we do it. All right, I can go this way with it. Actually, let me do, yeah, this is half. All right, right here, and it's just right here. All right, let me do that again. So to get there, you would want to, you could just cover an uppercut. As soon as you do, grab the head and the arm. It's the same type of motion. I'm twisting him and turning my body out of the way. There he is. All right. And the last one is quarter, where I split entry right here. All right. And I make him, I push on his arm here and make him kiss this elbow. And there he is. Same technique. There's the thrust again to the armpit. All right. The Japanese had it right with the Juji Gatame. All right, they have a lot of these techniques. I'm showing you the Filipino method, but that's why you expose the armpit a lot of times on the arm bars, really, is to get that thrust. You don't teach that very often, all right, because of the lethality. So those are the throws. So now looking at that with the weapons, you can see some of your follow-ups. I just wanted to show that to you. All right. If I can vertical gunting on the outside, I can vertical gunting on the inside. I'm going to do jab, have you do jab cross just so we don't have to keep changing positions. That way they can see the vertical, inside vertical gunting, okay? So when he throws, watch, parry, up, remember? See, instead of going this way, there it is. I can high cover again if I'm worried about that arm coming for a second punch. Let's say I don't get a chance to check it for whatever reason. I go here, all right, and I'm worried about it coming again. Maybe I see him drawing it back to throw a hook rather than a straight punch. This is much more efficient. You can see with the blade what that's going to do, but even in the empty hand, let's take a look at that real quick. So from here, when I go here, see, I see that. See, you can imagine that's the elbow right there. Even if I miss, out here I can drive it back in. All right. Again, you can imagine, just take your imagination, let it run loose for a second. Sorry about that. I caught him in the collarbone. There's your choke, standing guillotine. Look at this. See, once you have this here, he's going to go this way. This is nasty, because this is going to crank his neck bad. You just sit out like this, and I'm going to release his head. Let's pretend like his head's in there. You sit back like that, done. I mean, he's going to be screaming, all right? All right. So those are your vertical guntings. Again, you have full is here, half travels over. See how I can wipe the eyes with that? I can also hook the arm, all right? And quarter doesn't even pass. It's just right there. That's great if he's throwing jabs. We're in more of a boxing environment, and I want to try and catch one. There we go. See that? Boom. See? There we go. All right. Finally got to beat something up. All right. That's right. So, yeah. So from there, you can see how effective that would be with something really fast. Then he maybe throws jab cross. So I go here and then go, oh, okay, I got it on that side. There's the elbow. See how that leads right into the grabbing of the head, the kneeing, sorry. And there's your circle throw, the thrust. If I have the blade, it's right there. If you really want to go into your grappling, it's right there. All right? So there's your blade, all right? With the vertical gunting, outside and inside. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to look at your, sometimes they call it an inward gunting. Usually we just refer to it as a gunting, all right? So when he throws the jab, it's two hands working together. This, just like most of the other techniques, this parries, this cuts through. For this one, you can actually get a better illustration of it but by me doing it this way. It'll work either way. See, I'm cutting his, let's, give me your jab cross. I'll do it on the cross. See, I'm cutting his bicep right here, threading that back in. All right, so again, 1, 2. Here, don't worry about your hands crossing. It doesn't matter. If you watch, I go 1, 2, give me the hook. See, boom, there's the cover again. See the cutting in the neck, thrusting in the armpit. It's done, all right? He may still be flailing around for a minute, and that's honestly, from your perspective, better. All right, from a combative standpoint, if I have a directive where, I'm authorized to use lethal force, okay? Let's look at this for a second. I go here, I goon ting this, all right? He throws that hook. I can just high cover. See, notice the cut on the bicep? When this comes in, you see how, let me rotate you. As I grab, it's just like as if I'm grabbing him to wrestle with him, but I'm pushing his neck right in line with that, and I don't even get the Likos. If he's struggling, what's happening? His heart rate's up high. If he's still fighting at that point, when that heart rate's up high, if I've severed an artery, blood's just pumping out. And he's going to pass out. And eventually, if he's not treated, he's going to die. All right? There are a group of gentlemen out in Las Vegas that have full contact, real knife fights. We accidentally got somebody on camera talking about the details of it one day, so I'll try and be real vague. They have EMTs and paramedics on site, ready to take the wounded. Guys die on the way. It's the stupidest thing. The prize is $10,000. You could pay me $1 million, I wouldn't do it. People die all the time in those knife fights. The blade is extremely lethal, and when you sever an artery like that, even for an EMT to get in there and stop that, or an 18 Delta, Ben, it's difficult. I know your guys on your team will tell you that. It's just really difficult to repair those injuries. So this is extremely lethal in that sense. So what we do when we're empty hand with that, I'm going to do jab cross again, and we'll slow down on the cross. So from here, this is raking across the bicep. You see how it comes back out and hits. All right, we always want to do that. This isn't empty hand. It may just make him angry. Honestly, it may just piss him off. But that's what I want. I want to get him off his game so I can get that shot in. Because as soon as that hits, this follows. What's next? Always the knee, and then that takedown. Because now I control the situation. What I'm not going to do from here is jump down on top of him. I might knee in the ribs, knee in the head, knee in the ribs, knee in the head. Hold the arm up, bam, kick it and break it. All right? If I have the authorization to use that kind of force. Okay? Obviously in a street fight that might be a little bit harsh, but it also depends on how many attackers are involved in the situation. That's going to dictate it. What are you authorized or allowed to do, and how many attackers do you have? But you notice in this environment now I'm able to stay standing. Now if he pulls me down, yes, I have to use my grappling, and grappling's good to know. But the objective there would be to get back to my feet as quickly as possible. All right? So with the guntings, again, from here, see, cut, cut. See, I can do it on both hands. Same thing here. I can go cut, cut, thread it. I can cut this, thread that in, and then come back and pick that up. You can get pretty silly with this, all right? But that's the idea. You want to try and combine these techniques at this point. See, there's the horizontal back fist. So I can gunting this, I can horizontal back fist, or I can gunting this, vertical, thrusting, controlling the head, elbow. See how I'm in violence of action, I'm closing, all right? So when I do this, you're saying, well, I'm not going to use two blades, I can't draw two out. I understand that. It's just one. Same thing now. All right? It doesn't matter which hand it's in either, to be quite honest. You go, which one's better to carry it in? It's not going to matter. All right? He goes here for the first one, the gunting's there, but on the second punch, now it's where I want it. Now the thrust is there. If it's in this hand, you go, well, you're only going to get this hand on the gunting. Not necessarily. Look here. See? There's the lethal shot there. All right? So it just depends. It's not... Understand, your vital targets are right here, your carotids, your brachial, femoral, all right, and right in between the penis and the anus. I'll be technical about it. All right, the taint. Thrusting there is very, 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 very excruciatingly painful. A lot of nerves down there, and it can be very lethal. All right, got a lot of blood flow down there. So in here, your primary targets, the neck and under the arms. From there, the bicep and this exposed area of the wrist down here. All right, this is good, especially if you're going to thrust, but if you're slashing, I mean, yeah, you can disembowel him if the blade's sharp enough, but in the environment where you guys work in, if he's wearing body armor, you know and I know Kevlar's not going to stop this, but if he's got plate on, it's not going to go through the ceramic or metal plate. Yeah, can you get under it? Sure. If you get that lucky, absolutely. This is great too, so that's going to put them right down, give you a chance to get that. All right. The targets you want are the neck, the armpit, the area on the bicep, the inner arm here, and the area on the wrist right here. Your cut timetable for death is about 2 minutes. Right in this area here, about 1.5 minutes, and somewhere around just under 1 minute here. And that's if he's pumped up, well, to pass out. Death might be a little longer, that varies. All right, but this is taught to me by a trauma surgeon at Orlando Regional Medical Center. When I was teaching him the Kali, he actually gave me the cut timetable for this. All right, and it's pretty accurate from all the other sources I've checked with. So it can be lethal, again, if untreated. All right, if you put a pressure dressing on it right away, well, you change the scenario completely. All right, so that's your cut timetable with those Gunting routes. So let's look at some possibilities. I'm going to sheath my blade now that we have all these Gunting routes, okay, just these basic Gunting routes, all right? I come in with my M4 and I realize I don't have one. That was stupid of me today. Excuse me. Now I've got my M4. I'm coming into a room. Joey's on the side of the doorway where I can't see him. As I come through and I'm clearing the room, boom, he's here. Look, it's just that simple. All right. If I want, there's the knee. If you want to get fancy, there it is. And look, it's right there. All right. You may not use these exactly the way I showed them to you. That's fine. But the drills will get you comfortable with using the weapons. All right. It'll get you comfortable. Some of the drills you can do that are real simple. You go knife to knife. Why are you going knife to knife? Because this way, if we're empty hand, we don't have to trade back and forth, okay? He cuts Guntings, then he feeds me, I Gunting. He Guntings, I Gunting. This, I wouldn't feel if I had done only 1,000 repetitions of this a day, to be honest. Does it mean it won't work? Hell no, it'll work. But the more repetitions, the better, all right, to make you guys efficient. I know you guys have a lot of training to do, but I also know you pour a lot more time into your combatives than we did. All right. Anybody, no matter who's watching this, you gotta spend the necessary time. All right, if you're military, law enforcement, I know how much time you spend downrange firing a weapon at a target. I know how much time you spend firing it at other types of targets, whether they're moving, E-type silhouettes, pop-ups. We spend countless amounts of hour and ammunition. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing that with all your other weapons. There is no excuse. Bottom line, if you want to be a complete warrior, you have to learn how to use all your tools. Does that mean you need to be as proficient with hand grenades? Not necessarily. Obviously, that's a gross, weapon. I mean, in the sense that you pull the pin, you throw it, it pretty much does its job. You won't want to be standing up when it goes off if you're close, all right? The point that I'm making, though, is you can be extremely effective with these, but like everything, you need to train it. You have to spend the time training it. Otherwise, the one weekend every 6 months isn't going to be enough. All right, it's just not. You guys are going to freeze up. Okay, so you got to spend some time with this. So back to you can do the Gunting. We can do any of these Guntings. So do you have your blade still?
Yeah.
Can I take it, grab your blade? So we can go with this now. Let's say we're going right to right. I can punch with my left, and he can do outside vertical Gunting with one knife. All right. So as I punch, he can go outside vertical. You're gonna want to go dagger down.
Yeah, I realize that too.
Yeah. There you go. See, beautiful. All right, then he punches. So I go here, parry, see I'm hitting, that's fine, cutting. All right, you can even scoop, there's the cut across the throat. That's one way you can do it with just one blade. All right, so as I go here, good, cuts, see I scoops, that's it. Now that blade comes right back across the throat, all right? And you just practice that back and forth. So then he would punch, here, cut, scoop, there it is, right across the throat. I'm doing this because it's a sandwiching effect, because if I don't have the blade, here's what happens. I parry this, I hit this, I scoop this out of the way, and when I put this hand here, it now helps drive his face into the elbow. It's a sandwiching effect, all right? You do have to be a little bit careful when you train it with a blade for obvious reasons, and always use a training blade. I think you guys know that, in the sense that when I'm here, you don't want to do this and cut your own arm, all right? And don't hit the guy in the face with the eyes, all right? You want to always aim at the neck when you're training, and try to use some type of safe training dagger if you need to, wear eye protection, make them wear their goggles, all right? So then I punch, same thing, boom, all right? This slow repetition right now will give you the ability to later perform these tasks in dry runs, whether you're doing live fire exercises or whatever, all right, in a house, shoot house, or whatever you guys use, all right? So make sure you do these dry runs walkthroughs first, all right? Crawl, walk, run, same thing here. So this is kind of our walking stage now, All right, later we can add these drills into another type of scenario where we are punching, straight punch drill. So we can do it right from here. See, he feeds, you're gonna want that one. See, this is a different drill. I'm not really trying to show you the drill right now as much as I'm trying to give you an understanding of it. Look, there's the cut. See, there's the cut. We're already doing, every time we do this, let's switch hands, the left side. Every time we do this, we're already doing the outside vertical gunting. All right, see that? We're already doing it. All right, so now, when I parry that, see how I'm cutting there? Feeding that back, he's cutting it, good. I could gunting across there, see? This is actually a great drill when you're doing an empty hand too. All right, because when you come through, I'll let you disarm it, just for the fun of it. All right, so when we're doing this here, this works really good because I can gunting right across there. See, I can smash that. All right, I can inside. And the nice thing about this is you can add all these elements that we just did with this one drill. Let's switch sides. So we go to the right side, same thing, so you can see it from this side. All right, so it's parry, hit, parry, punch. It's 1, 2, 3, and punch. If you listen, 1, 2, 3, do just the 3 count.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, a little faster. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You get a nice little rhythm going. This, you want to get this first. Then you slow it back down a little bit and work your techniques. Okay, now bam, there's that. Notice I lean back a little bit to get my elbow in there. All right, you can practice horizontal, you can practice vertical, diagonal down. That's really going to dictate depending on how tall the guy is compared to you. Because if Joe is a little bit shorter than me, sometimes it's harder for me to come over, but it's easier for me to come under or horizontal. Whereas when I train with Master Trail or Sensei Trail or just All Trail, it's sometimes easier to come over the top versus coming under or vice versa. That's going to depend on the size of your training partner or the opponent. All right, same thing now. Smashing the bicep. See? That's that gunting. Good. Outside just like that. Remember half? There we go. And quarter. So you can just feed that. All right, so there's that gunting. We can go inside. We can go inside to inside. To understand this, we're just going to rotate our bodies while we're doing it. See? Now we're just going inside to inside. These are real important. All right, good. We can go outside to inside. So he can do inside on mine, and I can do outside on his. All right, see, I can go here, good, and go back outside. It doesn't matter. There's the gunting again right there. All right, gunting. There it is, smashing this way. That's like I can add the elbows. All right. That's a little bit more complicated. That gets into some of the serious levels of the Kali. If we start going elbow to elbow, this is how we start to work the counters. It's the same idea. The drill is the same. He catches, parries, like the outside vertical gunting, traps, hits. It's the same 3 count and add the hit. All right. 1, 2, 3, hit. All right. 1, 2,
Hit. Oh, sorry.
hit. There we go. We could be aiming for each other's arms. It still works. See? So when he goes, blocks it, it's still the same drill. In Kali, it's more likely that they're coming down on here than it is that they're coming to the face. It's because we love to destroy the limbs. All right? So it might be that I'm trying to come here. Later, you can add variations of that. Let me rotate us around. All right, so here, 1, 2, 3, see it? 1, 2, 3, elbow. All right, this is real important because you can start to add, you can start to shorten this and add other hits. Let me explain. I could just pick it up here. If I get lucky enough, add a hit here, and now add the elbow back. So he just picks it up, adds the hit, and adds the hit. So watch. Instead of parrying here, I took this out and just pick it up from here. All right, that's a sensitivity issue. If we're in here, all right, and I feel him start to throw that elbow, and I get that hand up, I can just pass it. Here's the shot, free shot right here. As I throw it back, he does the same thing. Picks it up, free shot, and throws it back. So I pick it up, free shot, throw it back. Good. See how we're just picking that up? That's a level of stickiness you usually get from Wing Chun and the Hubud. In Wing Chun, you'll get it from the Chi Sao, and in this Hubud, you'll get it, or in Kali, you'll get it from this Hubud. All right? So there. See how you're just pairing that up? That gives us that free shot. So now let's go back and look at this. Now when we're doing it, that makes sense. If I go here and try to go here, see how he can stop that already? Now we're mixing the drill. If I back up, we're right back in that punching range, adding the guntings and everything else. Why would I want to do this? Because, good, this is going to help us with the knife, all right? In this case, if you have smaller trainers, which I'd recommend unless you're carrying a knife the size that I'm using, you can still do all these techniques with this. So I can do it this way. I can thrust, and he guntings. There we go, good. I can outside vertical. See, it doesn't matter. I can still elbow, all right? I can always change my grip so that I can get that. Outside vertical, good. Look, see the elbow? That's the cutting of the blade there. He parries it up because he doesn't want to get cut. All right, that's the idea. So it can be done this way. Just be careful. It's a little bit safer instead of doing it like this. It's a little bit safer to be doing it without the blade if you use a metal training dagger so nobody loses an eye or a tooth. You don't go home and your wife wonders why you're one tooth short. All right. So that's kind of the idea. So you have the vertical gunting routes, okay, the basics. You have some follow-ups. You have some drills. Hopefully this helps you. Next time I send you some video, I'll have the M4. We'll be back in full battle rattle, and we'll look at how to apply a lot of this in a more tactical environment. But if you start practicing this now, you can come up with all kinds of things. If I just give them to you, you're only going to do what I show you. So it'd be better if you experiment. If I miss the mark, something else you want to see, let me know. Thank you.